is that I want to introduce to you all our new hosts, right? I want to make sure that you all get introduced to our hosts that are here with us today, right? So we have, myself and a visionary, okay? So for those of you all who are new to hearing us on the radio, hello, Rejoice 904, hello, LinkedIn, hello, Facebook, hello, Twitter, hello, YouTube, wherever you're calling in from, hello. But once again, I know we weren't here for about a month, so we're back excited in a new year. But what we're here, like I said, is just to put you and your family on the other side of money. And so for those of you all who have joined us in the past, and those of you all who are here, you have myself, the co-founder of the movement, Mr. Gerald D. Rogers, who is not with us today, but he will be here on this broadcast. But we're literally here to make sure, as a founder, the visionary, really making sure that we are impacting financially families around the world. This is the largest economic empowerment movement. But I want to allow, right, our newest individuals, I want to allow them to say hello to you all, because we have our millennials owning banks with us. And that is definitely something to get excited about. So we definitely have Alicia Monet. Now, she is your favorite TV personality. And then we have Aaron Wells, AKA New Type of Money. So if you heard that song, I'm telling you at the beginning, that is him. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to them for just a moment and let them introduce themselves.
Well, I guess I'll go first. I am Alicia Monet, as she stated. I am your favorite TV personality and empowerment influencer. I am known within the Be Your Own Bank or BYOB movement as the wealth connector. Why? Because I connect you to wealth, and I'm the one we need to talk to so you can get the money that you want to get and live the life that you want to live as well. I am one of the co-leaders of the Mob Squad, aka Millennials Owning Banks. It is very focused, but not limited to people our age being able to take back what belongs to them, what belongs to us, and breaking the trajectory of generational bondage and generational lack and mindset limitations. So I'm excited about this movement. We are going to educate and impact millions and millions of families all over the world. So you know what? I just can't wait. This broadcast is needed. And hey, we're on Clubhouse every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday too. So you get to hear us all the time. So that's all that I have to say right now as well. That's it for right now. I don't know where my co-leader at.
That would be you, Mr. Wells. Mr. Wells, Mr. Aaron Wells, New Type of Money. What happened? We just had him talking. Where'd he go? Are we having some technical difficulties right now? What's going on? Well, we're gonna keep it moving. Look like he lost his audio. And so, wait, I think we have him back before I dive in. Let me know. All right, so, and you're muted if you're trying to talk. But one thing that I definitely know, right? One thing I definitely understand is that, oh, there he is, Mr. Wells. Are you with us?
There you go.
There he is. There's that New Type of Money.
I'm trying to get in a good area. How y'all doing? That should be better, I guess. Okay. Is that better? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Because y'all froze on my end, so I'm not sure.
No, we can see you. Just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay.
Just go ahead. We live.
I was gonna say y'all was froze on my end. Okay. I am Aaron Wells, aka New Type of Money. That's NEWTYPAMONEY. I am the founder of One Way Entertainment. And man, I'm just doing a lot of great things with the BYOB movement, and just excited to be on here today.
Well, we're excited that you're here with us as well. So it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to apologize up front because it's been pretty here. I know it said I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, and I know they said it was supposed to be kind of rainy today, and it didn't decide to rain until 4:49, 4:55 time frame when the sky just opened. So I think I had some connection issues initially. And it looks like we're definitely having that in the different areas and parts of town throughout the area. But let's talk about why is it important to bridge the gap, right? Why is it important for something new? You know, why is that important? And if you're joining us, no matter where you're looking in from, we actually do have the chat up. So if you want to put a comment in the chat, you have some questions or just anything that you're kind of curious about, you know, just kind of let us know, and we'll make sure, you know, that we get those questions answered. In grade day, we're glad to have you too. We're glad to have you here with us. So now let's talk about something new, right? Let's talk about why it's important. Now, I'm a parent, and I say, you know, here we are. We have I'm the young, right? And they the young. They're not gonna call me old. I know they say millennials and everything, but what they not gonna do is call me old. So, like I say, we the young. I'm a kind of include the visionary with me too, like kind of. But you know, but they the young.
Yeah.
You say we young, so that's how we gonna do it. But I know one of the things we do is we actually interpret information. We speak to information. We actually there's been a shift that's taken place, and so why is it important that their voices be heard too? And I want to help some of you all in my generation as well, and the other generations, because we have a tendency to think that they're lazy. Right? We have a tendency to say, why don't you just go do this? Why don't you get a job? Why don't you? And one thing that I see, and I can tell you for me personally, you know, here we are to educate, impact, and to remove financial blinders. That's our purpose in life. That's what we're here for. That's what we want to make sure happens. And so what that also means is that we have to be open-minded and understand that sometimes things are just a little bit different. Sometimes things are going to have a shift in it. And so as we begin to understand it, and as we know that, then what we often do is we look at them, you know, that because they're not doing what we did, they're not willing to walk that path. But we often say that success leaves clues. And if you really, really take a step back and look at what a lot of us are doing, it's not success, right? It's not walking in that. Because I can remember, you know, when my grandparents were still here, and when they were working, and when my grandfather retired from the postal service, you know, he had a pension, and my grandmother did not have any issues or any financial problems or anything. You know, as a matter of fact, you've heard my story before when my mother was terminally ill. And what that meant is that he was okay until he retired, but they were fine financially, living off of, now they couldn't take exclusive trips around the world, but they were okay. You know, their lifestyle didn't miss a beat. And, you know, what happened is when he transitioned, when he moved on, you know, my grandmother, at that point, the pension stopped and things changed for her. And so that she didn't understand, like she never even had to put gas in the car. So that was a whole nother thing. Like he took care of all of that for her. But when all of those things happened, it's like her eyes were open. And it wasn't until then that her eyes were open, and we all had to come together to really kind of facilitate that. So now here we are. We can't retire. It's too many people that I know that are my parents' age, right? That are, you know, our parents' age, that are my age, that are still working. Or too many people we know cannot retire, right? They just cannot retire. And knowing that they cannot retire because financially it's just not feasible. And even right now, the new retirement guide says that at 65, you need a side hustle. I don't know about you, but if I'm gonna do a side hustle, can we do it now? Why do I need to wait till I'm 65? So when I see it, right? Exactly. So when I see them, and I don't think they're lazy, I think that they understand that what we've been doing doesn't work. And there are a lot of people in my generation that still haven't caught on to what doesn't work. When we see people consistently that are elderly that should be retired, I know young kids that work at Amazon, and in Amazon, they talk about they were like, you know how many old people working there? Like, this is how they pay their bills, and they should be at home. Like, one of the comments from one of the young adults was, I know their back hurts. I know that I see them struggling to lift those boxes and those packages and things like that. And they're older, but yet they have to keep working. They have to keep doing it. And jobs are being replaced. The things are being replaced. And think about it. I'm still waiting on my 1099 from Walmart because I've been cash checking myself out every day. So, I want my 1099. But I'm saying all of that, right, to say I think that we have to bridge this gap. I think that it's time that we, so we got that. Is so true. It's time to do something. Absolutely. And I think it's time that we bridge this gap. And I think it's time that we hear what they have to say and give them a platform where their voice is heard. So what do you guys think? My millennials owning banks, BYOB, representing the movement from a millennial standpoint with a whole different mindset. So, definitely want to hear what you all have to say about that.
I'm gonna let Alicia go first.
Gosh. Okay.
Are you shocked? Are you shocked?
Oh, no, I ain't shocked.
We know you're not shocked.
Oh, okay.
Are you shocked, Ms. King?
Okay. Well, no, I'm not. I just thought for once. Okay, so in reference to what you stated about us thinking different in generational shifts, like this, there does have to be a shift. I definitely agree with that because, like you said, we've seen that some of the things that you guys, or the older generation, or the more seasoned generation,
the older. She said the older.
The generation that millennial. That there's some things that were accessible to y'all that isn't anymore to us. One, like you were saying about those pensions and things, like I'm not going to have a pension. I worked at a background being in retirement and investments, and I see that, to me, it's kind of crazy that you work X amount of years at a company and then they throw you, I'm not knocking it because it's still good to get money, but they determine how much money you can get for them. You give them 20, 30, 40 years to a company, and then they tell you, well, you did a good job. Thank you for submitting your life to us. And so here's some money. Hopefully you can live off of it when inflation changes all the time, when finances change all the time, when new additions come in the family, things of that nature, when there are a rise in terminal illnesses, unfortunately, when healthcare increases. So I think we really see the difference. And also, in addition to that, I always say we just like to do what we want to do. We like to do what we want to do, and being constricted. I know y'all do. You sure do. Yes, you do, baby. Yes, you do. But I think because how we express it is why we get called, I know Mr. Rogers said it too, what's the word? Lazy. And no, he didn't call us lazy. He calls us entitled. And I will say there are some entitled millennials. So I'm not going to say there aren't, but we understand, we're paying attention to the results that our parents did, the lifestyles our parents lived. And if what they were doing doesn't lead us to living life how we want to, we like the freedom. We like structure, but we like to be able to have that freedom and liberty to spend time with family, we are more focused on relationship building. I've really noticed that about us. We really consider relationship over everything, and that is in relationship with freedom, with family, and things of that nature. Those are some of the things I wanted to tap on. But there's a tapper on this call.
No, my question was, is it a relationship or just the fact
you can
that
go
you
ahead.
have the ability to connect because of social media and things like that? Because I don't think that we have relationships with everybody. I just think that there's sometimes there's a need to be seen or heard, or, or just the access, where you have the access to everyone that we didn't have?
Well, kind of. So when I worked in human resources, at the company I was before I no longer went back to work, teaching people, speaking to the different generations, I had to learn how to speak to them, to speak their language. Of course, we all speak the same language. Well, here we all spoke the same language at the job generally, but as well, there were some things that people from different generations couldn't comprehend about the next one. And so I've learned that when it comes to millennials, I'm saying relationship building, how you see people on TV and it's like they always have it all together, and then people just go and follow. We don't care about that. We don't care. We want to know that you messed up. What did you do when you messed up? How is this going to help me and my family? Like, how is this going to benefit us? What is this going to do for us? How is this going to put money in my household? How am I going to be able to benefit and live how I want to? That's exactly how we look at it. Yes, there is like all families, they want to take care of their families, but it's more like, I want the benefits in addition to just money. I want the benefits of that freedom. When I'm saying relationship building, as in when we go to a job, I will be okay working at a company that maybe doesn't pay what I like, but if that manager is more wholesome, more relationship building, understands about me and my family, shows empathy, things of that nature, we gravitate to those things. Of course, everyone gravitates to empathy, but those are things that we're truly seeking, that being empathetic, understanding, putting yourself in my shoes. And then now that you put yourself in my shoes, how are you going to help me since you understand my situation, instead of you signed up for the job, you know what you need to do, get it done, get those hours, produce the time, productivity. We don't care about that stuff. We want to see if we're helping you, how are you going to help us?
That's good. I like the way I agree.
I'm going to call you out on the radio station. I agree.
It's
Tap
your
up. Tap up.
Huh? What's going on? Okay, so you asked like a lot of questions in one. I think the main question was like, how do we bridge the gap? Or you asked a couple questions, but my thing is, I guess I see it's very important to bridge the gap, because you have a lot of the, and I guess me and Miss Lisa Monet, I feel like we kind of like in the middle, so we're like the perfect ones, like the perfect generation to bridge the gap, because like I don't really completely understand the younger generation and have to actually sit down with them and listen to understand and like actually want to understand, but I can sit down and listen to the older generation too. And I'm saying that to say, like, it's a lot of cliche sayings like, the children are our future and stuff like that, that automatically kind of makes, I guess that statement even kind of makes you look at the now generation is like, okay, it's not their time. Like their time is later because it's the future. Like, no, like the future is now. So if we're not taking, the younger generation, I'm gonna say the younger generation, like the ones, because I learned from them a lot of stuff from them, and actually just be willing to learn from them and to teach at the same time, and vice versa. I think that's gonna be the easiest, most sensible and effective way to bridge the gap. Because a lot of times you have the younger ones that like, oh, they old, we don't want to hear nothing they gotta say, and like the older ones like, oh, they young, they think they know it all, so we ain't gonna tell them nothing. So it's like a
don't do us like that. But it's true though. But look, stop. What is it? Stop. Hush your mouth, but keep talking.
Right. Open the door and close it. What?
So it's like finding that humility within ourselves to listen to the older, those I'm speaking for the millennials, I guess, but listening to those that's older, but also listening to those that's younger, and just figuring out the best way to facilitate bridge this gap.
Yeah,
Because a lot of it has to do with language too. What she was talking about, language.
Uh-huh.
A lot of it is the, the dialect and just what we like. Yeah.
So how do you bridge that, right? And when I think about it, I give you a few examples, and then so it was a conversation like obviously my son would be in a generation after you all, right? And I can remember when he was younger. See, I joked about having access to things because it's real though. There was a time that he had seen like it was the camera, like we had to put the film in the camera. Okay, for those of you out that don't know, we had to put the film in the camera. And we had to take pictures, and we had to wind it. Now, see, Kat, y'all, I told y'all we had no money, so mine was still winding. You had to wind it in order to make sure the film was not exposed to light when you opened it. Then you had to take it to the store. You had to let it get developed. And then when you come back in 2 or 3 days, so when we got to 1 hour processing, where you can get your pictures back faster, that was like, mind blowing, right? So we were cleaning out the garage one day, and there was a roll of film in there. And he was like, "What's this?" And I'm just like, "Well, this is a roll of film. He was like, "Well, what's on it?" And I'm like, "It's pictures on it." And and as he's saying, and so he opens it and he starts pulling it out. And I was like, "Stop," because now I'll never know what was on it, and I'm explaining to him it's been exposed to light. So I'm gonna never know what was on this roll of film, because if you put it in the light, it destroys it, right? And he was like, "Well, how am I supposed to see it?" Because he's like, "I want to see it." He picks it up. He's like, "I want to see what's on the film." You can't see it like that. We got to take it to the store. He was like, "You know what? You're doing too much. I don't even want to see it no more." He's like, "It's not even worth it." What you mean it's not worth it? So, but it's that instantaneous gratification that a lot of people are looking for. And that's because culture has kind of created that. And then and technology too. So technology is helping us and it's hurting us at the same time, because here it is, my granddaughter just this weekend, she's sitting on, it might have been last night actually, she's sitting on the couch and she was upset. She was like, "Yeah, something wrong with the TV." And I was just like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "I can't skip the ad." Some of the ads that come on that you can't fast forward yet. I say, "You have to watch the ad." And she was upset. She just turned 4 this weekend, and she was upset that she cannot skip the ad. I was like, "Tamara, we used to have to watch commercials for like a whole 3 minutes. We had to watch the whole thing." And I'm like, "It's gonna be okay." And she was like, "No, yeah, you don't watch ads, and so it's that instantaneous gratification that technology has put there. So when we talk about bridging the gap, right, and something new, how do you communicate, or how do you take, right? Because if you think about it, right, it is definitely helping to hurt it. Because when you think about, we're stuck in our ways, or not me, definitely not me, but we're stuck in our ways where we still look at things, and some people don't like to adapt to that change. And then you're talking about bridging the gap, where we have to now teach this younger generation behind you, where, hey, you have to still have a little bit of patience, right? So you have to be able to bridge that together. So how do you connect us so we can understand that we got to change, right? So we can actually retire properly, because retirement is a financial status and not an age. So how do you help us and communicate with us to see the difference, but then help them understand that it's not overnight? So y'all in a nice dynamic, and a really, really fundamental position.
Yeah.
I see you.
And,
I don't know if the world can see you because your thing not popping up, but I saw you. This is what she doing, y'all. Because she always dancing, so somewhere she goes, she always moving. So one of y'all go, like one. I'm not the
We're
mom.
in the middle.
Like, one of y'all.
So I want to say, one of the things I've noticed so every generation, okay, so there's different things that we care about in different measures. We all care about the same things to an extent, but there's a shift in how, when we're exposed to things, when there's technology, when there's research, things that are accessible, that we start learning more. So I will say that the millennial generation and then the generation after us, aka Generation Z, we're starting to understand how one thing is mental health is really big with both generations. Us understanding things that have stemmed from our childhood, and the children, the result that are the results of some of the things we did, and the newer generation, they understand we're learning ourselves and finding ways to break shackles and chains and get out of bondage, and they're seeing that we're doing it, and so that's exposing them to doing that at an earlier age. And so one of the things about, I think, millennials owning banks, how we can help bridge that gap, just one aspect is helping them understand that a lot of for instance, mental illness is associated with people who, I'm not saying that people are not mentally ill that don't have, but a lot of times when people are in poverty-stricken areas and environments, when they cannot have, when they're in lack and they can't get out of situations, domestic violence situations, living in homes or living in facilities that they don't want to live in, things of that nature, it affects their mental health. And so helping them understand that when you learn this skill set that we're teaching you, it accesses things for you, where if your mental health is being sabotaged, is being affected, this is one of the windows that can help lift that burden or give you access to the finances to seek the help that you need. Or if you're someone who has overcome mental illness or seen mental illness in your family, you can now have access to funds in a market that is a $1 trillion market every single day, that if you want to pour into people, if you want to be, because they're advocates, Generation Z, they are advocates. They are very vocal. They will stand up for everything, whether it's right or wrong. If you say we don't like peanut butter and jelly, they're going to sit there and protest about peanut butter and jelly. And they unify like that. So when there is a mission and a cause for a greater good behind it, I believe that is how you shift their mindset. And then helping them understand that to shift that mindset that it's not going to be instant, sitting down and walking them through and helping them appreciate the things that do take time, helping them understand how to appreciate it and where this will lead to the life that they want to. That's what I think one of those things are.
Oh my God, before you comment, new type of money, well, like you said, protesting, I'm gonna tell you how spot on you are, because we talk about they'll protest peanut butter and jelly. Like oh my gosh, because and on our end, I'm looking at like, what is so hard? What have you been through? What are you protesting for? Why are you upset? It's just like, you don't get it and you don't understand, because I'm like, you haven't even experienced life. Was high school really that hard? Has life been that bad already? You didn't want to study, like, what is it? So you're absolutely correct, but go ahead.
What that?
I'm done. New type of money. You can.
Hey, no, I agree with everything Miss Lisa Monet just said. It's like, especially like the generation under us, they really like, I'm vocal myself, but they're next level, like to the point, like she say, like, yeah, it don't even, I think they understand the power of their voice.
That's good.
And unity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they really understand the power of their voice. It's like the older generations, like they understood the power of their voice, but they still had a sense of fear to use that completely. And it's like us, it kind of got a little more, we was a little more free. I know I express myself however I may feel like, but the generation beyond that is like, I guess also trying to find a balance within that, because and you was talking about teaching patience, like for some of those younger than us, I think that's just gonna have to come with experience, because I mean, like I have cousins and stuff that's experimenting all type of stuff like NFTs, and they like might just hit for, and I say hit because that's how they look at it. Like they may hit for 30,000 here, and like it's like, how do you how do you tell a person that's young and they 17 to 20 dealing with, multiple thousands of dollars to be patient and when they can just get money like this, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a honest, I'm gonna be honest, it's a task for me as being, I guess what they call a millennial, being in the middle when trying to learn and teach at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I like what you said. What you said is power of their voice and power in unity. That was strong. I'm gonna tell you how spot on you are. Like, y'all really bringing some facts, because I'm gonna ask y'all something else in just a minute. But my son, right? So I get on here and I'm like, yeah, my son did this and my son did that, right? Yes. It's, and I'm reading the comments. So let me read this and I'm gonna ask you these questions. So I think it's hard to bridge the gap because, like you said, some of us are used to what we're used to, and people have to see and understand things and change. And what we're told is no longer the truth as far as job goes. And then someone else says instant gratification. And I won't say that I think it's hard. I said that I think we have to do everything with intention. And that's the purpose of this show. That's the purpose of our voices. That's the purpose. I think we have to be very intentional, because if we're intentional and we set the example, that kind of feeds into like what I was about to say about my son. Because just me, right, having a shift in my life, because I was a quote unquote employee, and you could not have talked to me about different opportunities or other ways to make money, right? And I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened. When I said, if we're gonna have a wake up call, then the question is when that wake up call happens, do you respond to it? So I was on active duty in the military, in command. So that means that I had people responsible and they were leaning to me for guidance. Most of the times when things pop off or when things go off in the world, we're never concerned about our money. One thing you know, if for a soldier to be effective, they gotta have beans and bullets, right? Beans and bullets. I mean, they gotta have, they gotta have food and they gotta eat. And so how do you get beans? You get, so on the battlefield, you get on money, right? So, but they also, their families have to have that too. So the beans represent nutrition, being able to eat, but you have to be able to financially support that. So we know that that's what they have to have. And so, under the Obama administration, I can remember being here in Jacksonville, and one of the things that took place was that was the first time that I can never recall. They always talk about it, but we ignore it because we know it's not gonna happen. Well, the funding for the troops, right? When they go through those furloughs and all that stuff, and we're never concerned. And one thing about the military, they do very good about the 1st and the 15th. You're gonna get paid the 1st and the 15th. It would no matter what, whether you went to work or didn't go to work, whether you was the top soldier or the worst soldier, on the 1st and the 15th, you're getting paid. They also have a housing allowance and a food allowance, but you're gonna get paid. One thing you don't have to worry about is getting paid, right? So what happened is that's the first time and the only time that I've ever seen it, that our pay stubs, like our LESs, our payment stubs, did not have money on it. On that date that they had to, that was the first time the military was not going to get paid. Now, at the very last minute, right before payday, they went in and made another deposit and they rectified it. However, people got to see their checks, like, this is what your deposit, because we would get these statements out, you go online and look at it before the pay would come, like before it would hit. And that was my wake up call, right? That was that thing that said, whoa, we got to do something different. Because I literally had soldiers and people coming to me that live check to check. And they were like, man, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what you're going to do, but I know you're going to be at work tomorrow, right? So I know you still coming to work. Like, that's not even an option. So you a soldier. So I don't know, figure it out. But you're going to be here. But, and then I'm like, what are they supposed to do? Because I'm trying to figure it out because I'm the commander and everybody's now concerned. And I'm thinking, I'm like, what y'all gonna do what I'm gonna do? Because it wasn't that I wasn't making money, but the more money you make, the more things you buy, the more responsibility you have, things like that. So, and I'm a single parent with some children now, right? I had fresh off a divorce. And so for me, it's like, what y'all gonna do what I'm gonna do? And I took my divorce. I was like, I don't care. I just want a divorce. He was like, well, what about this bill? I'm like, I'll pay it. I'll take it all. So I walked away from my divorce with all the bills, right? All the bills. So and I'm like, what y'all gonna do? What you think I'm gonna do, right? So what I'm saying is like, that was my wake up call. And I think that when you get that knock, you have to be ready and willing to answer. You have to, and so my generation is, because you see it, you can't say you don't see it, but like you said, I think that fear kicks in because we so accustomed to doing something a certain way. And remember, we didn't grow up with this access. It wasn't even until the 90s that the foreign exchange market kind of hit the market where we could even touch it, but most of us didn't even know about it. And I mean, period, around everywhere, right? So that was in the 90s. And so by the 90s, we were having children. We were having children. So it's not something that we were considered grown. We're your age, right? We're in that generation. And so, but then here it is, when you make a change and a shift, my son, right? 6 figures, easy, does good, right? But at the same time, he said, you know what, I realized money doesn't buy you happiness. He was like, everybody's striving for money, but that's not what life is all about. So now he's at a point where it's about purpose, and it's about having purpose, right? And so he knows how to make money very easy, but now it's about finding a purpose. And I think, so when we talk about, it's not difficult, but we have to walk it and be the example. And so I think when we're bridging the gap and like some of the things that you said, so now, kind of talking about that, I got a little long with it, but how does the movement, right? Because we have to be the example. So how can the movement, because we talked about what it is, now let's talk solution. How can the movement facilitate that gap? Because we think about it, everything we're doing is about a financial stability, or if I'm in fear, it's about finances, right? When you talk about one generation, if I'm in fear, the root of all of that is probably money, the access to it, or the fear that if I do something different, how am I going to be able to provide all of those sorts of things? And then some of the things you mentioned, and then for them, they're not scared to get up and go do it, because my daughter never gets on the chart. My granddaughter can operate an iPad. She know how to call me, She's just turned 4, and if she wants to talk to me, she will FaceTime me from my iPad. Like, she's like, this Yaya number right here, I call Yaya. So when she want to talk to Yaya, she calls Yaya. But and they know how to do it. And then she get mad when her iPad don't work. She's like, "What's wrong with the Wi-Fi? Fix the Wi-Fi, Yaya." So it's just, yes, she bossy. So y'all think I'm bad. She works with me. So I'll be like, wait till you get older. So I want to see this. But so it's like, how do you use the movement, and how do you guys kind of facilitate all of that to kind of, bridge that gap and help people understand financially? Because I can make money, but I also have to make money with purpose. I have to have purpose in my life. And then for us, it's like, stop being afraid to walk in your purpose and walk in change, because obviously it's not working. So how do you all bridging the gap? I got deep one.
What's up, Lisa? I guess I can take that first. It's like she laughing over that, but I think it's the way you ended that is the most perfect. I think it's like, for the older generation, it's like, the fear, and then for the younger generation, it's like the patience part. So it's like really balancing between both and facilitating between both.
Mm-hmm. And how do you do that? With the movement, using the movement. You guys represent Millennials owning banks, right? That is who you are. You are co-leaders in Millennials owning banks, which means that your voice has power. Like you said it, you guys understand the power of your voice, and I always talk about a power in your yes. So how do you take that power of your voice and understanding and what you know, and be that change agent? How do you impact, you're bridging that gap. So how do you impact the world through Millennials?
I'll say this. That's good. I would say flowing and knowing. What'd she say?
I think she having internet connection.
Oh.
I think she having some internet connectivity issue, because she's just definitely delayed. She came through like 5 minutes later.
But I would say like just flowing and knowing your crowd, because sometimes like the message that you give, I know a lot of times the message that I give is it probably would be more attracted by the younger generation, but at the same time, depending on who I'm talking to, what I'm talking to, the message could probably be expounded upon a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that would be a way, like strategically being intentional and strategic on how I'm communicating the message, when I'm communicating the message, and who I'm communicating the message to. So I would say that.
Oh, do we have your back, Miss King, Miss Alicia Monet, Miss Favorite TV Personality?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, am I working? I don't know. Okay, so I'm just talking anyways. Okay, so in reference to that question, I think that one of the things you were saying was purpose. And the other thing was the fear for the generation prior to us. So I think really understanding that when it comes to younger kids, or when it comes to Generation Z, yes, they are quick, very tech advanced, things of that nature. But I have understood, I have 2 teen Generation Zs in my house, and what I've realized is they have to have things broken down. You have to break things down for them, and then you have to attach it to how it's going to benefit, what is the purpose, what is the result after you do it. So I think how we're doing this, when we're having these conversations on Clubhouse in reference to Millennials and Generation Z, is because we have been on both sides, right? Because I was there when I didn't wind up my camera, but I did have it when you had the Polaroid thing, and you rolled the little thing on the back and took the picture. What was it?
It
So
pushed out the
I've
front.
had that aspect, and then I've had the tech. Yeah. So I've had both sides. So being that we're both seasoned kind of evenly on both sides, it gives us an advantage to say, hey, listen, we did some of the same things you did, but wait, as well to Generation Z, we did some of the things you did. We were actually I'm not going to say, I ain't going to say the test. We were the, what is it called? The beta mode. We were the first, the first fruits of that. And so being that we understand, being that we understand how it is on both sides, or both have our lives subjected to both of those generations per the technology, and having that idea of work stability, I think that it's just our communication, and it's showing that it works, and showing that there is no perfect anything. And this is what I'm saying, perfect, because people are thinking about, when they think about millionaires and trillionaires and so on, automatically a lot of people's heads, they think that they got it all together. And the reality is everyone doesn't always have it all together. And that's what I want to show. People want to see real. So how do we speak to Generation Z? By being real, by understanding how they speak, and understanding how they receive. How do they receive? By examples. How do they receive? By breaking things down a little more primary, not because they're not intelligent, but giving them, like, what is it, the song on, what is it, Sound of Music, or I forgot, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Giving them bits and pieces and breaking it down so they can digest it. And then once they digest it, then it's just like just walking them down a path, and being, like you said, intentional, but being intentional that every breadcrumb, every piece of structure, every bit of foundation we give them is continue to build up, so that they have an understanding, because they know a lot, but even like the word says, now you get understanding, because when you understand something, then you see the value in it, and you see how you can utilize it and benefit you. And then for Generation X and prior toward that, we're showing them that for those who thought that they couldn't live life how they want to because they were scared to say something to their boss. We ain't scared to say nothing to our boss. Why? That doesn't make sense. I got kicked out of town halls all the time. I just did. I was never rude, but because I challenged authority. I did challenge authority, but I asked questions like, you're saying this works, but this doesn't make sense. And so I get in trouble, but there would be a shift after I said something. So that generation being, they have that mindset most that to be secure, you just close your mouth and do your job. And we're saying you don't have to do that. There's opportunities for you to live how you want to, but you have to shift that mindset. So it's also putting breadcrumbs on both sides and then showing them that there are real people, everyday people like you and I that can do this. And we didn't always grow up with a silver spoon in our mouth. Now that we didn't, you can do that too. So just really breaking down how to speak to each generation, but bringing it right back to purpose and how it's going to benefit them. And then seeing everyday people like us making that shift and continue to gravitate together.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a politician.
No, you're not politicking. We're not politicking. You just dropping nuggets, right? You dropping nuggets. It's wisdom. It's wisdom. Even though you bucking authority, I'm just saying you was just out of order. You was out of position. You was in the wrong place. Is where you were. You're supposed to be here with the BYOD.
They ask questions.
Yes, you were supposed to be here.
They said, do y'all have any questions?
Yeah, no, that's right, not. If somebody asked for questions, yeah, you was just out of place. No, but if somebody asked for questions, hey, give me your thoughts, right? One thing, but see, there also what you have to understand is that is the way that a lot of people were raised in the workforce, right? You get raised at home, you get raised in the workforce, and raised in the workforce is this is the task, go do it, and there is a new way where embrace it because people had longevity on jobs. And if I'm not willing to offer you that anymore, if I'm not willing to give you that anymore, then you have to be willing to understand that I'm looking for something where I can elevate. And you have to allow that person to buy in. So everybody that proclaims to be a leader is not a leader. And some things aren't taught. Some things you have to be willing to learn. And so just like one of the comments says that when they see realness and know that you know what you're doing and what you care and are willing to share, and you're relatable, not just to millennials, but to older generations. So, and that's true. It is the realness. Like if you know my heart, just like you are, right? You guys know my heart. I had a conversation with Mr. New Type of Money. I'm gonna just keep calling you that because I want y'all to go listen to the song on streaming from all platforms. It's BYOB, King of Currency, or New Type of Money, that New Type of Money. So when and I was having a conversation with him, and I think it was a day I was extremely exhausted. So yes, I get tired too, guys. So yes. But and he just it was just kind of like he was like, I see your heart, and he just kind of related to the fact that because even in the midst of what I had going on, I put what was needed, the conversation we needed to be had above my personal needs, and and on top of what we were talking about. And so it was just like he said, I see your heart. And then sometimes if you walking in the right mindset, you walking with the right spirit, you're not going to see that. So what I want to know for you all, because we are here to talk about the movement, right? We are here to talk about the way forward. And I wanted to kind of talk about something new and why this shift was made on this broadcast. Like, why are we here? So everybody understands the way forward. So as you plug in, the intent behind, what we're doing and why we have to have a conversation from both generations, or why we have to have a conversation from every aspect. We have to be able to do that. So I want people to hear your heart, right? I want them to understand why you're on Clubhouse 3 days a week. Why, when we had a conversation about the song, you were able to produce that within a 3-hour time frame. Listen, do y'all hear me? I was at an event at my daughter's school. Listen, if it's in your heart, it's in your heart. I was at an event at my daughter. It might not have even been 3 hours, was it? Because I was at an event at my daughter's school and I got a phone call and I almost didn't answer the phone because I was just like, I'm trying to get these stamps so we can leave, right? You had to go to so many tables for them to get credit for being there. And I'm like, I'm trying to get these stamps, and I know whenever we get on the phone, it's not a quick conversation. So when I answered the phone and he was like, Miss Tasha, I got a question for you. He was just like, okay, song, bam, bam, bam. Okay, I'm gonna call you back. And it like that was the quickest conversation we ever had, like the quickest. And and we had a song that's a hit. And how long was it? An hour or two?
Probably about an hour and a half.
Yeah. So it's here. It's in the heart. The movement's in the heart, right? It's
That's
in the
crazy.
heart. Yes, I'm telling you, it happened that fast. And I'm trying to listen to it because I had to take the kids to get something to eat after. I'm like, I'm trying to hear it. I'm like, y'all be okay if I step outside by myself? I want to hear this song, right? I'm trying to. He sent it to me, and I'm like, I want to hear this song. And I'm like, y'all shut up. I'm trying, like telling the other people at the other table, y'all too loud, right? I'm trying to hear this song. And that was the day I didn't have my headphones either, so I was struggling. So I was trying to hear it, but I just want you all to talk about what this movement means to you and why is it important? Why do you do Clubhouse? Why do you do this broadcast? Why are you sharing this information with people around the world? Why are you doing this? I want them to hear your heart of why this movement is important and how it's changed your life.
I guess I'll go first. It's because it all go to the heart. What you talking about? Oh.
You went first.
My heart, baby, in my heart. It's in my heart.
Let them flow.
But yeah, that honestly, that's the main thing. It's because it's in my heart, because it's a God thing, and because, man, I can't even, like, words can't even just explain or describe just everything, the confirmation, the revelation, the comprehension, it's just a lot. And I like the fact that it gives people, especially like even this show, like Clubhouse is one thing, but this show right here, it gives people like different perspectives, because people can only understand from their level of understanding, and what people don't understand, they'll assume. So it's like, a lot of people have heard stuff or think they know, like, oh, you do that FOREX thing, huh? Oh, yeah, how is that? Or, oh, you trade, or oh, they assume or this or that. But it's like, when you get in the movement and you hear different perspectives. I know I've been doing this for like 3 years, but you hear people like your daughter that's 7 years old, she's doing it. You hear, I forgot I'm gonna say the young, like 80 some years old, you know what I mean? And her husband, and just like, it's just amazing how versatile that the gap is. Like, the gap is already bridged into, like, to see people my age, people older, and people younger that actually not just do it, and not just doing it as, okay, I'm just making money, but actually walking in purpose and helping others get into purpose. I know I took a long time to get around to it, but that's the main thing to me, to actually be in purpose and to help others get in purpose. Like, that's it for me.
I love it.
Oh, okay. So, for me, really, it's a lot of people. This is how I feel. A lot of people have grown up in a place or environments where we got people not caring about us, the single parent homes, not saying they're bad, but a lot of where society is every man's for themselves, right? And that really, this movement really, to me, it shows that life doesn't have to be like that. Like you can win on all sides. And what I mean is with the movement, yes, you're going to learn a skill set and you're going to be able to walk in prosperity and do that. But within it, it's a family and it's a community and it's people who actually care about you and care for you, not care about if you're making money or don't pour into you. I didn't have that. So the things that this movement does, from the educators to the mastermind team, you know, Miss Dyer, Mr. Rogers, and the people I connect to, the way I've been poured into, this is something I've been praying for a very long time. And I know that people who have been in my situations, you know, not, you know, being raised in different environments, not being raised with maybe their biological family, not saying anything's wrong, but people who have felt left out, looking for a community and a way to win, and people who have been stuck around that crab mentality, like this is a season and this is a movement that eradicates that you're left out, right? That you can walk in monetary value, and as well your mind is being shifted, and as well these people care enough about you to want to see you win and push you towards purpose. It's just your responsibility to walk into it. But I really care about this because if I would have known, I wish I knew what I knew now when I was younger or whatever. I think that's how the song goes. But anyways, if I would have known all of this was accessible to me and the impact that this is going to have on me and my future children at that time, but my children, the impact it has now, I would have been done this. I think that's horrible English, but I would have joined this movement. I would have learned this skill set. And to think that me and my kids are getting free, my children are talking about the US 30, talking about, calling Miss Dyer, talking about the US 30s, the top 30, they're breaking it down. We just had this conversation the other day. 2 years ago, we weren't thinking about no 30 anything, except maybe how to get $30. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just the magnitude of my kids have a chance and I have a chance. And if I got that chance and my kids now have a chance, why would I be selfish to keep it to ourselves? So it's really, we're all in this together, empower people, and that's what I'm focused on. And for those who want to ride, let's do it. And for those who don't want to ride, you're going to want to ride because you're going to see what this movement does and how people are being impacted.
Oh, I love it. And I think we just lost New Type of Money. Let me do this so he can try to get back in if he needs to. But so the thing is he did call me and I was so impressed, guys. I was so excited because, you know, I can see the growth in these young men, and, you know, they're not personally enrolled, right? They're definitely connected, you know, through and with their mom. But, you know, for what they did and, you know, the impact that is having in their lives, because he called me and he wanted me to know that he knew all the companies in the US 30, in the Dow Jones. And I can just think about it, right? We're talking about new things and bridging that gap and, you know, walking in your purpose and being intentional, because you can't tell them or you can't tell people anymore what to do. You have to be the example. And so when I see that happening, and for this young man to call me and it's like, Miss Dyer, he was so excited. And she said, just tell her a few of them, right? And he just got to breaking it down. He was all of them. It's like, we're going to talk about all of them, but for him to have interest. And I can remember when I was growing up, my grandfather said, just sit here and watch this. I just need you to watch this 5 minutes a day. And I was like, Poppy, I don't want to see this. What is this? And I'm asking him, what is he said? I don't know, but you're not going to be me. So sit there and I need you to watch it for 5 minutes. You're going to watch it 5 minutes a day when y'all here. And he just made me sit there and watch. And I just remember the little ticker running across the thing. I was like, okay, we watched it. What does that mean, Poppy? What does it mean? And he was like, well, you watched it. And ta-da, you know, he was like, you can go back outside and play. But for 5 minutes a day, he made me sit there and watch that thing roll across the street. I didn't know what I was looking at. But but when you look back, he exposed me. He exposed me to information. He exposed me to something better. He exposed me. And for me, that's exciting because he said, I don't know, but you're going to know. And, you know, and I thank him for that. So we're at our time. So let's talk about how you can reach us, right? Because this was actually, I love to hear it because I mean, I don't normally run over. I'm the timekeeper. And I'm like, wait, it's 6:00. We gotta go. So, but love each and every last one of you all, guys. Please connect with us. Text BYOB to 55469. Text BYOB to 55469. Go, I can tell you right now, to SoundCloud, or you go on your Facebook Messenger, not Messenger, I keep saying that, your Facebook story, and you could put that new type of money in your story, right? BYOB Kingdom Currency. Let it play with your stories. I'm telling you, it's fire. You know, even though it's talking about the movement, but the song itself is fire. So, you know, yes, thank you. She said we was awesome. I'm still talking. We gotta go. So go to our website, BYOB Movement LLC, BeYourOwnBankMovement.com. You can reach us at both of them. Text BYOB to 55469. You know, get some more information, but also connect with us. Connect. Reach out. Let us know, right? Let us know that you are ready to become your own bank, and make sure, right? Reach back out, because on this same YouTube channel, we'll be streaming tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, and you'll definitely get to understand from one of our educators exactly what this movement is, the strategy, and how you can implement and begin taking control. And these two tomorrow, go get the Clubhouse app. Go get the Clubhouse app and make sure you follow BYOB Movement on Clubhouse.
12 o'clock.
Yeah, 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. And then you will understand why we laugh. We said, I'll go first. So understand why it was so important. All right, guys. Yes, thank you. This was awesome. Y'all, they love us. No, just but no, we love you more. We love you more. We love you more. So you'll see y'all tonight. See you tomorrow, and we'll see you next week. BYOB, and this will officially, right, conclude this broadcast.
Bye.
We love you.